Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Diana Scott with Blue Castle IT Solutions. Blue Castle IT, support, security, peace of mind. Today's episode is episode 3 in our security series. We're talking about ransomware. Today we're talking about proper user security permissions to help protect your environment against ransomware. Before we jump into that, if you are a small business owner or a admin of a company looking for maybe perhaps an office manager looking for IT support services, you're concerned about the security of your network or your data, please reach out to us. Come on down to go.bluecastlet.com and we'd love to talk to you. So we're going to talk about ransomware. So in previous videos, we discussed what ransomware was, where your data gets encrypted by a malicious party and they hold it ransom, usually asking you to pay Bitcoin or something along those lines to get your data back. And oftentimes this is your client data, or this is data that's imperative for your business to run. One of the big ways to protect your environment against ransomware, we have to understand how ransomware actually does the work of infecting your network. So usually it comes through a single employee's computer. Perhaps they click a malicious link or they open an email that they shouldn't. But in any case, this malware virus infection comes onto that one computer. Now, if you have good security permissions set up and the user only has access to the files that they should have access to, you can potentially minimize the impact of a regular user's computer getting exposed. What that means is, let's say John Smith has access to one particular file share. Well, their own files on their computer in one particular file share. Well, that might result in those files being encrypted and held ransom. But if John Smith's account, which is the only compromised account, doesn't have access to another network share, then his account, that's the virus is using to infect his machine and anything that he has access to, won't be able to reach those folders. The real danger becomes when really two main scenarios. You have one person, perhaps with an admin level rights, domain administration level rights, whose account gets compromised, and then essentially all files that person has access to, which is usually most, if not all, of the company's files, can then get encrypted and held ransom. That's a situation where you want to make sure your IT administrator or whoever has those admin level credentials and permissions is not is properly protecting their credentials, minimizing the situations where they're using an account that has that level of access. But so a lot of times with companies, you run into a situation where a single user doesn't need to have access to every file in every network share in the network, but the environment was never set up properly. So the easiest thing to do when you're a small company, you're just setting things up, you don't know better, is you create an account and you just give it access to every file on your server, every file on your network. And no one goes back through and says, hey, listen, only the accountant or the person in the billing department should have access to the files in the accounting folder, and segment your network or segment your files based on those kind of security permissions. There's a lot of good reasons to do that, independent of the ransomware threat, but especially with the threat of ransomware, making sure that everybody only has access to what they should have access to is a great level of protection, where at the very least, if a certain file share gets encrypted, held ransom, that the rest of your data is at least safe because it's caught early enough before somebody with the wrong, somebody who does have those major permissions and access to all files gets their account compromised. So that's one of the number one things that we usually do when we go into environment, is we just take a look at, we do what's called like a security audit or a security permissions audit, and we just see, hey, did you know that such and such employees have access to every file on your server? And it's just a matter of changing those permissions, going through and saying and identifying as a business owner, okay, well, this department doesn't need to have access to those files, so let's change their permissions so they only have access to what they should. The other thing I see, and it's worth mentioning, is that if you do have IT administrator staff, you should not be letting your single, let's say you have an IT administrator, his name is Steve Smith. Okay, Steve Smith has an account, steve.smith@yourdomain.com. And Steve Smith should not be giving his own IT admin, IT professional role account admin level privileges for the entire company. What I mean by that is if he needs to do something that requires admin privileges, he should be logging into a separate administrator account that has all of those privileges, and he should only be using it in the circumstances where he absolutely has to. When Steve Smith is logging into his own computer and doing things that do not require admin privileges, such as just web browsing or using applications that the company uses, he should be using his account that does not have admin level privileges, because even IT professionals, even the smartest, most talented IT professionals can still accidentally click the wrong link, can still accidentally open the email they shouldn't, can still have their accounts compromised. And the worst thing that you want to see happen is an IT professional who has full admin rights, click that wrong email, and your entire environment is now compromised, and perhaps your data is ransomware. These are some really simple fixes that I think can help you as a business owner feel more confident that your environment is set up more securely. And certainly if you are looking for some help in this area and you are looking for some IT consulting, or for a firm to come in and just take over the ownership and management of this, of your security permissions, making sure that your user permissions are set up properly, then please, by all means, come on over to go.bluecastleIT.com and reach out to us. We want to talk to you. All right. Thanks, everybody.